Hello, welcome to Good Questions, Good Answer. Today we have another interesting question from our audience, and also our guest speaker, Venerable Sander, joining us again this week. Venerable Sander, how about say hi to our audience?
Hello, everyone.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, let's get on with our questions. Nowadays, many people are having difficulty since the situation about COVID-19 has widespread over the world. Thus, the way of living, the way of making money or make a living themselves is quite changed drastically, and thus create many fear and worries in their mind. So in this case, how can we help and how can we overcome or at least get it slow down or decreasing our fear and worry in this situation? Well, Venerable Sander, is there anything you like to give our audience some food of thought?
Yeah, when I heard about this topic, I immediately thought of the story that I once heard on a TED Talk
Oh,
a few
that's
years
cool.
ago. This story is actually well known in history.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a boat. It happened in the early 19th century.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And there was this boat called the Essex.
Okay.
And it was It was not stranded. It was. There was a problem with a whale
Mm-hmm.
that hit the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and it caused the ship to be destroyed. And then eventually, what happened is that the entire ship, hardly anyone survived. There was only a small group of men that were able to escape the ship using a little vessel, a little boat. And of course, this was a very difficult time because they didn't have any food,
Mm-hmm.
and they were going to have to plan where they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they did have some basic understanding of the map.
Mm-hmm.
So if they knew where they were going, they would be able to at least make the right direction. They were not amateurs.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was some discussion, because there was one particular group of islands very close by.
Mm-hmm.
But these islands, even though they were very close and they would easily have gone there and they would easily have survived, islands were known for the reputation of having cannibal people living there.
Mm-hmm.
They were supposed to be cannibalists. They were eating
Human
people,
flesh. Ooh.
very dangerous. And this was, of course, according to the understanding of the people at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And this was some islands in that area. They were in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
But the alternative was that they had to take a long journey all the way to South America, which was very long, maybe 10 days or something, or even longer. And that was very dangerous because, they hardly had any provisions.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a problem, but they eventually make the choice to go to South America just because they would absolutely not go to these islands which had the cannibal people on it, even though it was very close.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is, because of the many days they went without food, eventually they ended up eating each other. They became cannibals themselves. So this story shows that if we have fear leading us through fears, through our imagination, that is not based on facts, then eventually this very thing that we fear, we become ourselves. This is a very powerful story, and it shows that it's important to deal with fear properly.
Mm.
Yeah.
I see. So you're trying to say that if we are feared by that without trying to, reasoning over that, it could
Right.
causing us to become the fear itself.
Right.
Just like in the story, they are afraid of the cannibal, and that's in the end they become a cannibal.
Right.
So rather, if they make just some difference, just want to check out the island that it said the rumor that having cannibal living in it, they can save themselves and save their time
Right.
by just stopping by, even though it's closer. If it's not, they can just go moving on.
Yeah.
And then even better, they might just have a supply or something from there. But therefore, in the end, they just make it out by make it worse solution. So that's everyone. As you may see from the story in here, that Venerable has so suggest to us, you can see that fear itself are not benefit. So therefore, our worry too, that's happening. But the problem still remains. When we have fear, how can we get rid of that? So in this situation, from the story, we learn that we can also, by trying to do it by first, take a step to be reasoning, checking whether
Exactly.
how can we solve this truly. Do not just believe anything on the basis, just like when we consume such news. So in this case, well, sometimes the news is also negative and positive, right?
Right.
So therefore, how can we distinguish between the good and positive, and also help it overcome our fear then?
Yeah, so this is also an important thing right now with the entire world being hit by a terrible disease.
Yes.
We need to distinguish fact from fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we come to the same thing. But we have to know, we cannot say that all fear is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even though, you know, the president, one of the presidents of America, I think it was Roosevelt, who said that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. But in fact, there is fear that is useful, and then there is fear that is not useful.
So what are they?
So it's important that we first recognize what if our fear is based on facts or fiction. And as in the case of the Essex survivors, which eventually did not survive, their fear of cannibalism was not based on reason. So in Buddhism, we have greed, hatred, and delusion. These are the basic hindrances to our happiness, right? Which we also encounter in meditation.
Yes.
So when we talk about fear, this is the same thing. We have fear that is based on greed. We have fear that is based on hatred. We have fear that is based on delusion, not seeing things as they really are. So we have to check, or we have to understand our mind. I think that's very important. And like you mentioned, we have to distinguish. We have to use our reasoning. Right now, there's a lot of fictional stories going around. How can some people say, if you just use some garlic, then you will not be infected by COVID? There's a lot of stories going around.
Yes.
And we have to be able to check, to fact check, and we must also not be too much, not consume too much news. I think that's also important. Not consume too much information, and be able to, we have sometimes also to talk about other things than just COVID all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So something else that can also helping us forget about what worry at hand. So in this case, well, beside our distinguish between what is fact and what is non-fact, and also doing some consuming too much information may not be benefit neither. So there are many things that we can do to help us overcome fear. But worst of all, we must not become what we worry about that. So therefore, everyone, in this situation that's happened now, also what we must also maintain is our mindfulness as well. Just like in the story, when they just worry too much about what's going to happen in the future, whether it is going to be a cannibal in the island or not. In this case, they just worry too much in the future. But if they, with the present, with their mindfulness, they will understand that, oh, how can we find out? We just have to check out, not just listen to the story. So therefore, in this case, when we are facing such worries in our mind that create fear in ourselves, this case, what we have to remain is our mindfulness. We can make mistake, but do not lose our mindfulness. Otherwise, it's gonna causing us more mistake and more unfortunate events to come. So therefore, in here, how can we maintain our mindfulness?
Yes, mindfulness is of course key factor here. If we are in the present, first of all, apart from being too much involved with the future, we will also be able to know our own mind and know whether our mind is led by greed, hatred, delusion or not. We will be able to see our mind and understand our mind better. So mindfulness arises from meditation. That is supporting each other. Meditation and mindfulness are like two things that support each other. And
see.
if we have more mindfulness in life, then we also find that our meditation becomes deeper. When we have more depth in meditation, we also find that mindfulness increases. So these are two things that help each other, support each other. And mindfulness is something that is being emphasized a lot these days for the happiness it brings us in the present moment. But it's also important for the fact that it gives us clarity and gives us the ability to use our reasoning better.
Yes.
Sometimes there's some criticism that mindfulness is an escape, but I don't think so. Mindfulness helps us to come back to the present moment, and it supports our reasoning. It makes us a good citizen.
I see.
Makes us do our responsibilities better.
I see. So, well, the solution has yet to come, that we must maintain our mindfulness, so that way we can be reasoning and just remain our conscience,
Right.
and also we can make out the solution for ourselves. However, in this case, if you still interest to practice and also find out where can you practice and learn how to meditate, well, we also have many programs that provide on our page, especially on Inner Peace Sunday and Inner Peace Wednesday, when anyone can join our activity, and also Whenever Center. How about your program that you like to share with us? Do you have any meditation that you might want to suggest to our audience?
Yeah, so from the end of this month onward, we have the new sessions coming on in April, Tuesdays and Thursdays. We have I have a broadcast. This is on European time from 7 to 8:15 in the evening.
Okay.
So this is in the Tuesday and Thursday, and if anyone is interested, they can log in through the code we provide. So it's important that we have some inner happiness. You know, when we are more at home, we should also, if we cannot go outside, as the meme says, then we should go inside.
All right. If you cannot go outside, how about come inside, everyone? So I hope to see you again in our next Good Questions, Good Answer. Don't forget to follow us on our Inner Peace Sunday and Whenever Sunday broadcasting live meditation too. Thank you, everyone. See you again next time.
See you.